Hello and welcome to your practice. Today we are going to break down dolphin posture. And on our way to that point, we'll review downward facing dog. So to begin, make your way into an all fours position, tabletop. And we're just going to do a little bit of wrist stretching to make sure we're ready for our time in downward facing dog. So begin by setting up your Hasta Bandha or your hand lock, which means put a little pressure in each one of your 10 finger pads and also in the heels of your hands. It's important to spread the weight with equal distribution instead of pressing all of your weight into the base of your palm near your wrist. Imagine that you're cupping the ground really lightly and you've got a marble underneath your palm. So we'll do that and then just shift forward and backward a few times. You'll feel the wrist stretch intensify each time that you shift forward, but hopefully it's not too much because you're pressing into the finger pads to keep from overexerting. All right, now we're going to review the setup for downward facing dog. So to begin, slowly lower down into your child's posture and make sure that your arms are outstretched. So it's an extended child's posture with really active arms. If you're just starting your practice early in the morning or after a long time seated at a desk or something like that, your body might really feel pretty rigid. So let's take a few shifts forward to kneeling plank and then back to child's posture. This will allow us to continue warming up our hands, wrists, and shoulders. And it will give us a little more mobility in the lower back. We'll go one more time, forward and back. And then just pause and wait in your child's posture. So this is a time to check on your hands and make sure that your index fingers or your middle fingers are facing forward and you feel that weight distribution evenly in each finger pad and in the heels of your hands. And then from here, we're going to move right into our downward facing dog. If your hips are lifted up from your heels, your hands will be further forward in child's posture. So if that's you, you might back your hands up a little bit so that you get the correct fit for your body in downward facing dog. If you're pretty close to sitting on your own heels, then child's posture with arms outstretched is going to work to send you right into your downward facing dog. Make sure that your shoulders aren't pulled up around your ears, but rather draw them slightly back and down. Tuck your toes, and then take a deep breath to prepare. As you exhale, use the strength that comes from that exhalation to pull back into your downward facing dog. And on this first one, you might soften your knees a little bit so you can really experience some ease and feel your shoulders really stretch. Maybe start to pedal it out a little bit. Maybe take a few rolls up and down onto your tiptoes. Making sure to breathe very slowly in through your nose and out of your nose. And do that one more time, rolling up and down. And then we'll bring the knees back to the ground. Untuck the toes. and release back into child's. When you feel ready, bring your hands under your shoulders and either come up to a kneeling position, or you can just come right back to your tabletop if that feels more comfortable. So now we're going to start to get ready for the posture of the day, which is dolphin. Dolphin is a really great shoulder strengthening posture. So it's wonderful in and of itself to get really strong shoulders. And it's also extremely important if you plan to develop an inversion practice and want to eventually move into headstands. So to begin, we want to figure out an alignment for the arms that will be most stable. And how I usually coach this one is to have people grab their own biceps like this. This will help you to place your elbows shoulder width distance apart, which is what we're going for in dolphin. They might slip out over time if you spend a bunch of time in the posture. And if that's happening to you, you can use a yoga strap around your arms or just keep working on developing your adduction strength there. But let's at least set up with the arms in that shoulder distance apart so that we start in the right spot. So you grab your biceps and then just bring your elbows down to the ground like this. So you're pretty much in a tabletop position, but now you're down on your elbows. Now you can release your biceps with your hands and interlace your hands, just like this. And that is almost the setup for dolphin. There's just one literally little issue, and it's your little finger. So if you look at the bottom of what's about to be your base of support, you'll notice that a lot of weight is about to come right onto your little pinky finger. So in order to prevent that and have a more evenly distributed surface, go ahead and tuck your pinky finger under like this so that now you've got this nice even and level bigger surface on the whole side of your hand. That's going to be ready for your dolphin, your forearm plank, and eventually your headstand. All of that applies. That applies to all of those postures. So once again, you grab your biceps. That's going to show you your shoulder distance apart. Then you let go of your biceps and interlace your hands, and then tuck your little finger in. So let's try this with a kneeling plank to begin. Here we are, just back your knees up, and you'll feel probably some action going on in your shoulders right away. If you find that you're starting to collapse like this, engage the belly, press in with the outsides of your arms, and feel some shoulder protraction. You're trying to stretch the skin across the upper back. No winging shoulder blades. All right, when you've had enough of that, you can bring your knees forward and take a rest in child's posture. Once you've had a little break, we're going to come up and just stretch the shoulders a little bit more so that they're really prepared for dolphin, because there's quite a lot of shoulder flexion involved. You can do this from kneeling like I am, or you can take a seat if that feels better. And just go ahead and reach up and bend one elbow. And then if you'd like to apply a little bit of pressure, you can do that too. Really gentle pressure. Make sure you're not flaring through the ribs here, but just stay nice and engaged through the belly, just like you would be in downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. And then when you're ready, release that side and switch to the other arm. Just taking a few deep breaths here. really important to make sure that our shoulders are ready for dolphin because it's a posture that requires some flexibility and strength. One more breath. And then we'll release that side. We'll do one more preparatory thing and then we'll get to dolphin itself. Come into tabletop and we're going to warm up the shoulder girdle, really get strong there with some serratus push-ups. So we're going to be using the serratus muscles that are serrated and they come right along here. And we're going to do that by just lowering and lifting the torso without bending our elbows. At first, that might feel really weird or almost impossible. You'll have the tendency to want to bend as you try to lower towards the ground. But instead, don't do that. And just use the control that you have in the shoulder girdle. You're really retracting the scapula and then protracting. Do a couple more. We're all fired up now. Feeling good for dolphin. So let's get into our setup again. You can sit back to begin. Grab your biceps. Place your elbows right down from there so you know that your elbows are shoulder distance apart. Interlace your hands and make sure you've tucked that little finger in. And then off we go. It's just like downward facing dog, which we've already experienced today. You're going to tuck your toes under. Take a deep breath. And then use the force of your core muscles to pull back. And here we are. This is dolphin posture. If you want to, you can pedal it out a little bit. Or you can roll up onto your tiptoes and down to your heels. Keep pressing the earth away through the outside of those forearms. And whenever you feel like you've had enough, bring your knees down and rest in child's posture. So holding dolphin is one really great option to strengthen the shoulders and to gain mobility. Another neat thing that you can do is to take a little swim with your dolphin. So let's try that next. We'll grab the biceps, place the elbows shoulder distance apart, interlace the hands, tuck in the little finger, and then tuck your toes. Take a deep breath, and then pull back. Now, if we're going to swim our dolphin, it helps to move the feet back just a little bit, I find, so that you've got a little bit less pressure on the shoulders. And then just shift your face out in front of your hands. So you're looking out in front of your knuckles and then pull back. And maybe you just get one swim today. If you do one and then you come down to child's pose, it's a success. If you've already built up some shoulder strength in your yoga practice or something like that, you might be able to take a few shifts forward and back. So go ahead and do as many as you want. Making sure you're not holding your breath as you do these. And then when you feel like you've had enough, bring your knees down and release into your child's posture again. So moving kind of beyond dolphin, and I'll just show you one more neat thing you can do from dolphin today to finish up. Now we're kind of moving towards training and preparing for headstand. I'll show you how to do that from dolphin. So you grab your biceps, bring the elbows down and interlace. Tuck the little finger under, tuck your toes, and then see how far you can walk your feet forward. Just maybe tapping your head, not putting any weight on it, and then walk back. So you can see when I come forward, I'm really aligning my hips over my shoulders, getting really close to that headstand alignment. Go one more time, forward and back, and then lower down and rest in child's posture. When you're ready, bring your hands right under your shoulders and press up. So you can probably really see how that is an essential preparatory posture if you are at some point planning to incorporate headstands into your practice. So let's release the shoulders a little bit after all of that. Just taking one shoulder and circling it out a few times, right from an easy seated position. Circle it the other way. And then do the same with the other arm and shoulder joint. Circling it in both directions. And we'll interlace the hands and round the back as we stretch the shoulders in a little seated cat stretch. And then take a nice big breaststroke and either just reach back by your sides or clasp your hands behind your back. When you're ready, release. And you can feel free to continue your practice forward from here. Or if this is your practice for today, tell your shoulders particularly thank you for showing up, and I thank you for practicing with me. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.